Guāngqǐ of Shanghai, and Zhīzǎo and Yáng Tíngyún, both of Hangzhou, are known as the three great pillars of Chinese Catholicism. It is due to the combined efforts that Hangzhou and Shanghai became the center of missionary activity in late Ming China. The three men shared an interest in Western science and mathematics, and it is probable that this was what first attracted them to the Jesuits responsible for the conversion. Origin of name. This name is derived from a passage in St. Paul's letter to the Galatians, "And when they had known the grace that was given to me, James and Cephas and John, who seemed to be pillars, gave to me and Barnabas the right hands of fellowship." The passage in Chinese is somewhat more obvious, wherein it calls James, Peter and John the pillars of the church. The inevitable connection was then seen between the pillars of the early church and the three men who helped to evangelize Ming China. Zhu Guangqī. Jiang Tíngyún. Jiang Tíngyún was born into a devout Buddhist family. At the age of 35, after taking the imperial examinations, he assumed the post of inspector. In 1600 he met Matteo Ricci, one of the founding fathers of missionary activity in China, but did not convert or receive baptism at the time. He worked with Ricci and other Jesuits to publish China's first global atlas, the Zhīfang. Later, however, in 1611, Jiang accompanied a fellow official Zhīzǎo back to Hangzhou to arrange for his late father's funeral, and saw that Li had not only thrown out his home's Buddhist statues and imagery, but that he did not send for Buddhist priests to give the man his last rites. Instead, he had brought two Jesuit priests, Lazaro Cataneo and Nicholas Trigo, to do the job, and a Chinese monk, Zhongming, reigned to explain the rite's significance to the gathered friends and relatives. 1 month later, impressed by Li's newfound piety, he abandoned his concubine, and was himself baptized, receiving the Christian name Michael. Of particular significance is Yáng Tíngyún's willingness to abandon status symbols such as his family's traditional beliefs and the concubine, for these were some of the main obstacles in the way of the Jesuit mission to China. In the same way that he was impressed by Li Zhīzǎo's conversion, many other Chinese were impressed by his and followed his example, starting with the 30 members of his family and then moving on to his friends, in total convincing over 100 people to accept Christ. His other notable contributions to Christianity in China include his funding of the missionaries in Hangzhou, granting them the use of his estate as the base of operations, and also the buying up of land at Tianshui Bridge in Dafangjing to build the first church in Hangzhou and the Jesuit cemetery. When the church had for the most part been completed, Jiang became severely ill. Knowing it was his end, Jiang Tíngyún requested the sacraments from the priests, and in January of 1628, at the age of 71, died. Because he had been seen as a great scholar and man of excellent moral fiber, the people of Hangzhou had him honored in the Xiangshan, a hall for honoring local heroes and ancestors. Writings light emitted by heaven. Tíngyún Shi Ming Bian is a treatise on the union of Confucianist and Christian thought. He writes, "A spiritual nature is God's gift to man, and it is the greatest gift of all. Benevolence, righteousness, social etiquette, and wisdom are all indeed of this nature. These things that God has given us are what we've had all along. The Bible calls it morality and Confucius calls it conscience. Answers to questions, Dai Yi Bian, and answers to questions continued, Dai Yi Zubian, are, as the name implies, attempts to resolve Chinese people's apprehensions about Christianity. The owl and the phoenix do not sing together." 1616 A defensive Christianity against the accusations in Confucian heterodoxy. Attacking the White Lotus teachings. Jiang Tíngyún also helped to translate prayers, scripture, and the writings of foreign missionaries into Chinese. Li Zhīzǎo Li Zhīzǎo was a successful Hangzhounese official who held various posts around China, the most notable of which were in Nanjing and what is now called Puyang County in Henan Province. He was known by the courtesy names of Wokan and Zhao, as well as by the pseudonym, the Man of Liangyun. In 1610, while in Beijing, Li became gravely ill, and without any friends or family in Beijing to care for him, was soon on the verge of death. It is fortunate for him then that at that point in his life that he became acquainted with the Jesuit Matteo Ricci, who took him into his care, treated him as a family member, and soon brought him back to health. Ricci also during this time taught him much of Western science, mathematics, and Catholicism. Shortly thereafter, Li Zhīzǎo was baptized and given the Christian name Leon. After converting, Li Zhīzǎo took an oath saying, "As long as I live, all that God has given me, I shall put to good use for him." While still in Beijing, he presented Matteo Ricci with 100 taels of gold for the purpose of building a church there. Later, Li would also be responsible for introducing Catholicism to his hometown of Hangzhou the following year when, returning home for his father's funeral, he brought with him 2 other Jesuit missionaries. In 1625 he was the first to publish the Chinese text of the Nestorian stele. Writings. Li Zhīzǎo was responsible for translating many works of Western science and mathematics into Chinese. Fee to translate books on Western calendar methods, King Yishi Yang Li Fa Deng Shushu, was submitted to the Ming Dynasty Wanlai Emperor, beseeching him to hire missionaries and have them make corrections to the Chinese calendar.